Hey guys, Mozu and Negron Tech here, and today I'm bringing you my version of Summon Holy Relic of Conviction, the new transfigured version of Summon Holy Relic. It's really an awesome spell, it always has been, but now you get two relics that hover you, and they auto-target their Nova. So it's a super cool, it gives you that minion cast on crit playstyle. You can use any attack that you really want with sufficient attack speed that it's going to use those trigger breakpoints, and I'll explain the breakpoints in a little bit, but you want to attack really fast, and you want to trigger their Nova literally as it's off cooldown, and it auto-targets. So just like, the old days of Shockwave Totem becoming viable, well, more than viable with Astral Projector. So it's really cool just getting that from a transfigured version and solo self-found, being able to farm that. It's huge. And as you can see, this is a super smooth, enjoyable playstyle. Whether you want to use Cyclone or Lantern Steel or transfigured version of Lantern Steel, very good. So, you're looking at my character now. How does the build really work? My build is going to be Guardian, and I want you guys to ignore this tree because I am testing mostly cold convert. Pain in the ass getting 4 green. I don't really care. I'm actually done with the league now, so I'll talk about my thoughts at the end. But for Guardian, the best version I think is pretty much a pure Phys, but without brutality and utilizing the power of Unwavering Crusade. Now, you might be thinking, oh, why are you pure Phys and even using Summon Elemental Relic? One, I want it to be a Guardian because Guardian just has a lot of innate early power in solo self-found. Doesn't need a lot of gear, very easy to scale and become strong and get to T16s. You have very good block chance. You have 100% chance. You're going to have 100% uptime on these block chances right here, which is very good. And getting Radiant Faith is not huge, but it's pretty nice because now it makes your minions a little bit more tanky, and it just helps you become more tanky, increasing your effective health pool, right? You can go pure Phys and ignore this, and then use one of these, but I think Time of Need, Harmony doesn't apply, but Unwavering Faith just are not as good as Unwavering Crusade. You'll see in the POB how much damage it gives us for free, and even though we're not scaling elemental damage, we're really focusing on the Phys variant and not converting it. By the nature of the support gems we use, all more multipliers and crit, we still get a benefit from scaling the elemental damage, right? It's not like we have any nodes that increase only mid-minion Phys. So we actually, not that double dip because it's always better in PoE to focus on one archetype of damage. But we still get the benefit and really clearing pinnacle content. Even T17s, yes, this can be cleared T17s pretty easily. It's absolutely fine, right? So that's why we do it. We are Phys crit, mostly, not pure Phys, but mostly Phys. We utilize Unwavering Crusade to get a little bit more damage. And that's how we scale our damage. Now, talking about the support gem setup, again, I want to be very quick with this. I don't want to make a super long video. Summon Holy Relic, we're going to go crit. How do we scale the crit? We're going to get power charges from on hit with Assassin's Mark quality. I have it somewhere over here. You're going to trigger Assassin's Mark with your weapon, right? So you trigger that, and your offering, again, the thing about crit is that no offering is going to scale our Holy Relic damage, right? Attack speed offering does nothing for us because Holy Relic is limited by the cooldown of casting Holy Nova. So, how do we scale it? The block chance we don't need because we already have very good innate tankiness and block chance. We go Spirit Offering instead, get a whole bunch of free crit, multi. Gotta have 100% uptime on that. Ideally, you would want 2 blue, 1 green, and have Desecrate in this setup. But it is what it is. Again, I'm done with the league, so I don't really care about crafting or fixing stuff like that. I only tested the pure Ellie version just for you guys to see, like, Summer, yes, it's not as good as mix of crit and Phys, right? You craft essence of the minion essence, right? You slam it on any type of one-handed weapon. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a one-handed weapon that has a good high base attack speed and probably a low dex requirement. Make it a little bit easier on yourself, especially for SSF. Have a open craft for the suffix to use a trigger on Socket of Gems, and you have something like this. Really, you're just using your slamming your minion essence and trying to get a decent attack speed, getting another, let's say, dex or strength, or even in another attribute suffix and or a resist suffix would be really good too. Prefixes don't really matter, but you know, it is what it is. So that's talking about the weapon. Very, very simple. I do like using 2 bone rings. Having like really, really good bone rings will really increase your minion damage. Again, you can see I'm using Cyclone and non-channeling. That's a channeling. Like I'm just done with the league. I'm just doing this last video for to show you how the Guardian really works. But bone rings, double bone rings are very, very good, especially if you get good ones. Getting increased minion damage, very, very good multiplier. Rest of the gear is crap. You really, really need Geoffrey's. I'm only using this to show you that even without that unique, the build is still super, super, super viable, and it's very, 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 very good. I have Aegis because I dropped the Aegis in SSF. Yeah, I'm going to use it, right? So I actually think a fossilized Shaper Shield would be better. Again, with fossilized, now you get the minion affixes. You can get minion plus minion skills. You can get increased minion damage. Increased minion damage is huge, obviously. And then you can get, hopefully with the Shaper influence, you can get either ES or life gained on block because you're going to be blocking a lot, right? Again, the big thing about Guardian is that you don't have to go glancing blows to get near max block chance, which is very, 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 very good. And that's pretty much it. Like, the rest of the gear is just really, really, really bad. My other setup that was Phys and Ellie combined was much, much better. The crit focused. And then you just get, you know, a whole bunch of Ghastly Jewels. The best affix on the Ghastly Jewels to get is, you know, flat fliz, and then also minions deal increased damage when you use a minion skill recently. How does that work? Signal Prey, Convocation are minion skills used recently. This costs no mana. You could just, well, with my setup, you just cast, spam Signal Prey every, you know, couple seconds, and you're going to have that 100% uptime on minions used recently. So before I get to the skills, you know, I'll finish up the gems. For auras, we are going to go Zealotry attached to Generosity because we don't need crit. We don't need spell damage. We need it on our minions more, right? We're going to go Determination because we are Aegis. Even if we weren't Aegis and I had a Shaper Influence Fossilized Shield, I would go with that. Tempest Shield for Shock Immunity and maximizing our block chance. Clarity, just I think I have 3 levels in this. Yep, just for a little bit of mana regen. And, you know, I have Precision in this pure Ellie version, but what you would actually have, excuse me, is, I forgot the name of it, is Flesh and Stone for nearby enemies take increase physical damage. So that would be the aura setup. Very, very, very simple. For your attack, Cyclone, you can go faster attacks depending on your attack speed and trigger breakpoints. I'll talk about that in a little bit, right? But, you know, ignore most of this. Refer to the POB that I'll link. For Golems, we're actually going to use Carrion Golem. Why? I like it a little bit more than Stone. Stone is, like, good defensively, but the thing about Carrion Golem is that giving flat Phys is just very, 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 very good because what I use in my setup, I actually use Summon Phantasms, and what you're going to see is that when you get Summon Phantasm, you're going to have max 10, right? What's going to happen is that each Phantasm gets, you know, 27 to 41, so the way I look at it, it's not even 27 to 41, it's actually 270 to 410 for the Phantasms, right? So that's a very, very big deal. They get it adds a lot of good flat damage. It does die when you get to tough mods and T16s and obviously 17s, but no big deal. Feeding Frenzy because it gives you the buff that will increase minion damage. We also have Meat Shield for survivability and Ray Spectre. I don't have the best Spectre setup. I'm going with 2 Pale Seraphin because I haven't been able to find the T17 Spectres. I'm too lazy, but you can get something like a Spectral Leader or a War Caller or something like that. One Pale Seraphin and then one of those, that'd be pretty nice, right? And I think I covered everything. Frostblade for mobility. We also go Shield Charge so we can zoom. Obviously, with a very, very high attack speed base and a fast weapon, we zoom pretty well. So that's very, very good. Trying to think if I missed anything here. I don't think so. Right? I like using Cyclone because, you know, it's Lancey Steel is probably better, especially with the Transfigure version. But I actually took me a while to farm the Transfigured of Conviction. I did like 10 labs, not Uber because I ran out of fragments, but I did 10 Merc labs with no Transfigured Lancey Steel, and I'm like, I'm not having fun. Let me just go map and use Cyclone. Who cares, right? So that's that. That's pretty much how the build works. Again, it is a pure Phys Nova. It doesn't say here, but if you want to go code convert or full convert, you can. I don't think it's worth it on Guardian, but hey, it is what it is, right? I tested this just to be able to tell you guys that as a Guardian, just going Phys, either pure Phys or Phys hybrid without converting and just utilizing that triple aura Anger, Wrath, and Zealotry, Anger, Wrath, and Hatred is good enough on its own to give you a bunch of free damage. So, alright guys, so now to the POB. I have talked about the passive tree. It's very, very straightforward. The only thing to note is that because I'm not going more into the ore reservations in these areas, I am using one small cluster that has reservation efficiency, and you can use determination or zealotry. I like zealotry a little bit more just because getting a little bit more consecrated ground effect to have a region is nicer compared to the stun threshold from determination. But you can go with what you want. As the Aegis build, I'm using Aegis, but as the Aegis build, you can go armor evasion, whole bunch over here. I only have 87 points, so you still have a lot of room to be flexible over here. And I just want to note, if you look at the DPS for Holy Relic, you'll see how crazy just having a fossilized shield with just a little bit of increased damage. That's a mid-tier row for life, damage, and minion crit, and you get absolute metric crap ton of more damage there. And then, again, you go into the gem setup. The breakpoints are going to be 14 qual, 30 qual, and then past that, you're probably not going to see it in, what's it called? Soul Self-Found. So there's really not much point to talk about it. In trade, there's like more trade-focused builds that you can just go to PoE Ninja and copy with the Alias, or maybe an enhanced setup in your 6th link. You can do that if you want to. It'll really increase the DPS, but I'm not sure in SSF that'll ever happen to me. And again, I'm done with the league. So one thing to note here is that talking about Holy Relic and the breakpoints, right? In this setup, I'm using Cyclone. I like Cyclone better. Again, I haven't got Lancing Steel Spraying and Soul Self-Found, but the thing is, let's say you're at your 14 qual, and I believe it's a 0.3 second cooldown. If it's whatever, let's just use 0.3 seconds as an example. Let's say you're attacking every 0.2 seconds, right? You attack initially, you attack 0.2 seconds later, and because the Holy Relic cooldown is 0.3, it'll trigger on the first attack. You attack at 0.2, your Holy Nova Relic is not ready to trigger. So instead of triggering it, let's say if you had a 0.3, you trigger every time it's off cooldown. If you trigger it right before it is ready, now instead of triggering it at 0.3, you trigger it way past the breakpoint, which will significantly decrease your DPS over time. So that is why it's so important to match your breakpoints with your attacks per second. Very, very important, and POB does an excellent job in explaining it. It has your effective trigger rate. It'll match what your quality at your whatever quality you have. If you have high quality, low quality, whatever it is, right? POB will solve that issue for you. So play around with the attack speed. Play around with the appropriate DPS per second so you don't miss those breakpoints, right? Hopefully that explains it in layman's terms. So talking about the actual POB, again, I'm not using Joffrey's in this setup. So what you're really seeing is not... This is one Holy Relic, right? You're timesing that by 3 with Geoffrey's. Now you're at over 1.5 million with just that, with absolute shit gear. I have no plus minion gems. I have a 2020 Holy Relic. If you look here, I have no plus minion gems. And the configuration, Guardian Pinnacle, there's absolutely nothing that's messed up here. You're going to have 3D Frenzy. You're going to have Signal Prey active on cooldown. You get power charges. Your minions will have them from Assassin's Mark. You attack and cast. Recently, the enemy is ignited for, I have this jewel over here from Anger, but that's only 20k DPS, not a big deal, right? No cheese here, no modifiers. Very, very simple, basic, bare bones DPS calculation, right? So 1.5 from the Holy Relic, but it's not just that, right? Because I like to go Summon Phantasm. We have 10 Summon Phantasms. The physical projectile, it's not just 84, it's actually times 10. You have 840,000 DPS from Summon Phantasm. That's per minion, right? So all of a sudden, you're almost at 2.5 DPS with just your 6 linked. You go to the, where is it? I apologize. Sentinel Radiance. The RF got nerfed, does do a lot of damage. We're not scaling minion life, no biggie. The actual average damage, their DPS is going to be 250k, right? Very, very good. Just a free quarter of a mil DPS on a minion that you'll always have up. So I'm not going to even go into Spectres. I don't know if I have them enabled here, actually. Yeah. So, you know, pretty much you're looking at with bare bones gear, like just under 2.5 DPS. And it can be scaled much, much better with gem levels, with better bone rings, with better a minion shield, things like that. So super, super nice. You can also craft increased minion damage on gloves with that essence. That'll be very, very huge. You can also get Unnerve on gloves, which is huge. You can see if I go back to... Sorry, guys. If you go back to your Holy Relic, all of a sudden you get a 40k, which is really another 120k from, you know, having 3 relics. So that's a big deal. You can also get brittle ground on boots. And the thing about brittle ground on boots that's very nice, that increases the crit chance. But what's going to happen is that because you're cycloning, you're always moving, so you're going to have 100% uptime. It's much more comfortable to use Cyclone with the brittle ground boot setup than it is to use Lancing Steel Spraying to be on top of the boss, move, attack, move. It's just annoying as hell. So that's another big thing why I think Cyclone's better, but that'll significantly increase your DPS. Let me just show you the boots real quick if you did have that. I actually have it on another pair, but I'm trying the LE version. I needed to max out my resists. So even the basic low tier brittle ground, you'll have 100% uptime if you're cycloning. And you'll look here, where is it? And you'll see it here, that's almost a 300k DPS increase just from the Holy Relic. So there's a lot of room to min-max this. You can even go more heavily invest into auras and add pride to your setup. That will significantly increase your DPS. There's a lot to do here, but just know that it's a super solid build. Even Guardian, even though it's like, I think there's only 2 Guardians like over level 90 or 91 in solo Southbound, which is crazy. This is not as good as Necro and or maybe a Pure Phys Champion, but you know, it's no big deal. You know, play the game for fun, try different things, see what different archetypes can give you and stuff like that. Mozu with Negron Tech here. Before I end, why am I done with the league? My quick review of Necropolis, even though nobody probably gives a fuck. It's just not really fun. The league mechanic doesn't do anything for me. I like to craft, but I kind of like Crucible a little bit better when it came to crafting. It was just like more intuitive. Like it gave me a reason to pick up rares, gave me a reason to like cook different weapons. Necropolis, I can do 150 maps and I still won't get plus max modifier to one item. And it's like, I work full time. I don't use this. I don't play this game for a living. So it just sucks for me, right? And it's okay. Doesn't mean it's bad, but for somebody like me, I just don't care. It's like, well, I gotta do 150 maps. Well, really, I think it took me almost 270 maps to get a craft for my ring, and it ended up just getting unlucky. And it's like, I gotta do, on average, 1,000 maps to increase my chances to get like a 66.6% chance, according to Craft of Exile, to get like a good item. Not worth it to me. The payoff is not good, but the rest of the Necropolis stuff, when it comes to the end game, it's kind of fun. Not too bad, and I am done with the league. I'll probably try out Mana Lords. I can't wait for the Warhammer 3 DLC and go that way. But if you guys have any questions for the Guardian variant, I haven't seen anybody on YouTube post this version, so I figure, hey, let me have some reference, because I'm sure some people are like, oh, what, you know, Guardian Holy Relic Conviction. That's kind of like the Guardian ability, right? Let's see if there's a video. So now you got a reference point. Again, you guys, a lot of you people are infinitely more, have an infinite amount more knowledge when it comes to PoE than me. So I'm sure people can improve and really min-max this. Again, really scuffed setup. But even with the scuffed setup, you have very good Guardian DPS. And it's a super solid build. I hope you guys enjoyed. Mozo with Negron Tech here. Have a good one.